This is music, and these are first impressions from deep within Darklin Reach. Welcome to another first impressions video. In these videos, I share with you my first impressions of the many blind buys I've picked up lately. Apologies for my damp hair. I just did my leg workout and I just came out of the shower. What you gonna do about that, and why would you even care? Let's get down to business. I got a stack of CDs to talk about. Starting off with a band from New Zealand, Alien Weaponry, and the album is called 2. I was under the impression that this was going to be thrash metal with some groovy elements because the few songs I had heard by this band were thrashy songs with some groovy breakdowns. But having spun this one, it's clear to me now that this is groove metal with some thrashy parts. There are also some metalcore parts, and people say that there are some new metal parts to this too. Now, groove metal is a bit of a dirty word. I was a big fan of groove metal back in the 90s. The genre did get watered down a lot, but I still enjoy those pinnacle groove metal albums for sure. And what I really liked about the pinnacle era groove metal was the combination of groovy riffs inspired by the blues and southern rock with those more percussive riffs, just a few chords, and then it was all about the rhythms. I remember reading an interview with Dimebag Darrell, I think it was, where he talked about those percussive riffs. And those combined with the late 80s, early 90s hardcore punk breakdown, which had also become super groovy. So that combination, that's groove metal done right. I mean, groove metal I like. And that's what you get here. Not so much the southern rock and blues inspired groovy riffs, but the percussive and the hardcore inspired groovy riffs. They are all over the place here and they work extremely well. So you got your straightforward drum beats as well. It's very head bobbing, this album. And then, you got other styles peppered in, some more complex drum beats, a lot of thrash metal for sure, some metalcore breakdowns, some alternative rock and metal even. Uh, and it all works very well. I really enjoy the musical side of this album. It's just groovy and I enjoy the groove. What I think is really awesome though is that a lot of the songs on here are not in English. You do have some songs in English, but a lot of them are in an indigenous Maori language. I cannot remember what that language is actually called. Um, it does have a name. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. So I think that's really cool. I do believe that all the members of this band are of Maori ancestry. So they just infuse, their cultural background and identity into this style of metal, and I can only respect that. A lot of the songs, as far as I understand, deal with Maori mythology and worldview and culture and stuff, and I think that's cool. Some of the songs also are like critiques of colonialism, and I do think it's important to address that and that kind of the social and ethnic situation. I think it's important to address that, and they do that in some of the songs too. I think it's cool. Another thing that I think is awesome is that you have elements of traditional Maori music. In particular, I think I could be completely wrong here. A lot of the vocals on here sound like they're very inspired by Haka, I think it's called. The I'm sure most of you have seen that. The kind of ritual dance where you got like lines of people dancing and making warrior facial expressions and then singing in a kind of like a shouty choir thing. There's a lot of that going on in the vocals here, and I think it's awesome because it fits those percussive grooves perfectly. So this is not only a perfectly groovy, awesome album, it's actually very interesting too. Really enjoyed it. I also listened to this one here, also by Alien Weaponry, Tangaroa. Very similar in style. Um, I enjoy this less than 2, though. Um, I don't know if it's because there's less thrash on here, but other than that, it's very similar in style. It's very groovy, really enjoyable. Now, people say that there's some new metal on here too, and I think that's just because they don't play guitar solos. So if you are a shredding fan, you won't get any guitar solos, but if you are a groove fan, there's a lot of stuff for you there. I really enjoyed listening to both of those. Two much more than Tangaroa, but they're both really interesting. Up next are Kara, A Matter of Time. I bought this in a web shop. I think it was in a Chords web shop, and it was listed, as far as I remember, as progressive metal. So I thought, okay, this is gonna be progressive metal. I mean, it kind of looks a little bit like a not 90s, a 2000s prog metal album. This is not progressive metal at all to me. This is hard rock with some traditional heavy metal and a lot of sleaze rock and glam metal musically. So a lot of the songs, or some of the songs at least, are kind of groovy, not like Alien Weaponry, but more like Bang Tango and got that kind of funky groove. Just like Gunshy, the first one, that's a straight up like a groovy, fun, hard rock song. You also have a lot of AOR inspired stuff on here, and then they've thrown in like traditional heavy metal elements like twin guitar harmonies and stuff. So I think, despite the fact that it's not progressive metal, I kind of like it. Um, there are too many sappy ballads in this one, though. Not not so many that I don't enjoy the album. It doesn't take anything away from the hard rocking songs, but there are too many sappy ballads. Some of the lyrics are a little bit sleazy, but for the most part, they're also going for more like sappy love song lyrics. But be that as it may, I still enjoy this for what it is. I also gave this one a listen, also by R. Cara, uh, self-titled. I like this one much better. I gotta be honest. Now, I don't dislike the other one, but I like this better because it's heavier, fewer ballads, more hard rock, more AOR, more heavy metal. Um, so there are just more songs that kind of click with me on this one. But yeah, good stuff. I enjoy these two Arcara albums. The self-titled one more than A Matter of Time, was it? Let me just double check. A Matter of Time. I enjoy the self-titled one more just because you got fewer ballads. But yeah, the hard rocking parts, there's nothing wrong with them. Up next, new discovery by our attention. This is progressive metal, progressive power metal, I would say. So you have a lot of power metal trappings, larger than life choruses, Flagger mindset, and then you also have your like progressive metal elements, not so much the overly technical playing and weird odd time signatures all over the place. More like an epic feel, an almost symphonic feel in places. The use of keyboards and synths, and then just the overall vibe is a little bit more progressive. Good stuff. I enjoyed listening to this. I think I've heard this before, like a long time ago. I couldn't recognize any of it though, so it is pretty much like a first impression. This one needs more spins, but I liked it for sure. Up next, a re-recording, Schizophrenia, the classic Sepultura album re-recorded by the Cavalera brothers. The original is kind of infamous for having terrible production and being sloppy in terms of the performance, but I never had a problem with that. I don't think the production is bad actually, and the sloppy performance is just like it adds authenticity, kind of like the kind of early Celtic Frost. Uh, I really like this. No matter how you look at it, I really enjoy this. And I enjoy this because this is like getting new Sepultura material. I left the Sepultura boat after Max Cavalera left the band. Um, the stuff they did after Max had left the band is not bad. It just doesn't click with me. So this is like getting new Sepultura stuff with Igor on drums and Max on vocals. Uh, Now, the production, they're kind of going for a bit of an 80s sounding production with some reverb on the vocals and the guitar tone sounding a little bit 80s too, but It is much tighter in the production. They're better musicians, so the performance is tighter too. So this really highlights how good the songs on Schizophrenia actually are. Now, I did not need this album to for me to realize that. I still appreciate it. I really dig this. But if you have heard Schizophrenia, you have a hard time with the production and stuff, check this out. I'm sure you will appreciate the songs. I love the original Schizophrenia album, and I really like this too. Was it necessary to re-record it? Maybe it was for the Caballero brothers. I appreciate that they re-recorded it. I enjoy that album. Up next, Crows, The Dying Race. I don't know why, but I thought this was gonna be one of those rare cases of a hard rock album reissued on Dive Bomb Records, but it's like straight up traditional heavy metal with power metal elements, non-cheesy power metal though, and even some thrashy attitudes every now and then. I really dig the vocals. I cannot remember who the vocalist reminds me of. It is a power metal vocalist, but the songs on here I think are really, really good. And not only are they really good, you have 15 tracks on here where half of them are bonus tracks, so that's a treat as well. Really good stuff, punchy heavy metal, power metal stuff, thrashy attitude, great songs. I need to spin this one more times, but I definitely liked it. Um, I think I just spun that one once, but I really liked it. Up next, Darklin Reach, Where Evil Dwells, thrash metal. I have to thank Roka Sjorvik for bringing this to my attention in one of his videos. And he learned about it, I think, in a video on the Analog Archives channel. And interestingly enough, both myself and BBD Aussie Metalhead uh, kind of connected with this in Roka's video. So we both picked it up, inspired by his video. With BBD, it was the name of the band, Darklin Reach, because it's apparently the name of a place in a series of fantasy novels that he used to read. And with me, it connected because Roga played some of the stuff in the background, and one of the riffs sounded a lot like a riff that I had composed back in the day. So I suspect I have heard this before, and I've unwittingly ripped it off. In any case, this is great stuff. It's thrash metal with a lot of traditional heavy metal thrown in. I would not say it's power thrash. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it is quite melodic. It's a good mix of thrashy riffs and great musicianship, and then, melody from traditional heavy metal. And it all works really, really well. The opening track, Impact and Elegance, sets the tone for the entire album. And I think it's in that song where you got some kind of, you have it in some of the more songs, but in particular in this song, we have like some strangely groovy riffs that I think I've heard before, because some of the riffs I would come out with back in the days sound a lot like this. So there you go. Good stuff. The vocals sound a little bit like Dave Mustaine, but don't let that put you off. I do get a bit of a Megadeth vibe from some of the songs too. Don't let that put you off either. We're talking early Megadeth. Great stuff, Darklin Reach. Thrash metal fans, check it out and see if you like it. More thrash metal here, Destabilizer, and this is Violence is the Answer. Danish thrash metal, kind of a mix of speed metal and thrash metal. Not the melodic kind of speed metal, but more the modern kind of filthy speed metal, if you know what I mean. So, for example, the first track, Violence is the Answer, that's kind of speed metal crack in that sense. And the next track, I think it is Iconoclast. That's more of like a thrash metal. And then they go kind of back and forth between that. Um, Pretty straightforward stuff. As we say in Danish, ingen digger, no beating around the bush. And it's great stuff. Aggressive thrash metal, kind of old school. The vocalist sounds a little bit like a harsher version of Phil Rind from back in the day. A little bit more shouty, and then he does some high-pitched screams too, like inspired by speed metal, no doubt. Good stuff, really enjoyable. I like this. energetic thrash speed metal. Check it out if you like your thrash metal. And up last, we have this one here, To the Gallows by Devil. This is another case where I was misled. I was led to believe this would be doom metal. It's not. I do get why some people consider it doom metal though, because it has that fat bass tone of early Black Sabbath. And some of the songs, like for example, Peasants and Pitchforks, they are quite inspired by kind of Black Sabbathy style doom metal. But to me, this is straight up traditional heavy metal. That's what it is to me, with some Black Sabbath influences. Hence, why some people consider it doom metal. I think it's pretty solid. It's not outstanding, or they don't reinvent the genre or anything, but it's pretty solid. It's pretty enjoyable. I need to give it more spins though. You got some good riffs on here. The vocals, I think I need more listens. The vocals don't quite gel with me yet, but maybe they will. So there you go, To the Gallows by Devil. So yeah, some really interesting stuff this time around. Lots of garden paths, lots of cases where I was misled and surprised. I like that, so that's cool. Do check them out on your own. See if you like him. For now, thanks for watching.